industry, the third aim of a good judiciary demands a personal passion for work, not only during office hours, but also in the evenings and the early mornings when, free from the hustle and bustle of office and trial routines, judges find the solace and the solitude to wrestle with their consciences, to pray, and to gather courage to accord what is due every person, pursuant to the letter and spirit of the law, regardless of personal consequences. The workload in the Supreme Court is backbreaking, as my two colleagues here know. At present, there are about 6,000 pending cases. These are divided among the 15 incumbent justices, who get an average of 400 cases each. In addition, to every justice is raffled about 25 to 30 new cases per month. Thus, to update their dockets, the justices must each dispose of at least 30 cases every month by outright rejection through minute or extended resolutions of obviously unmeritorious petitions or by signed decisions known as ponencias. By requiring magistrates to decide cases within a limited period, 3 months for trial courts, 12 months for appellate courts, and 24 months for the Supreme Court, the Constitution effectively wants not just speed, but also industry from magistrates. The bottom line is that there is just too much work to do. The judiciary is not a place for the slothful or the faint-hearted. The fourth E, intelligence, refers to both knowledge and wisdom. Judges must master the law. To earn the respect of lawyers and litigants, they must be able to preside authoritatively over trials and rule reasonably well on fine points of law and evidence brought before their courts. Intelligence, for the purpose of our present discussion, may be equated with excellence, which in turn demands mastery of our chosen vocation and familiarity with practically all branches of knowledge. Simply put, this trait involves knowing everything about something and something about everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I have already used up almost 30 minutes, and I have yet to discuss the 4 areas of judicial reform I have codenamed ACID, meaning limited access to justice by the poor, corruption, incompetence, and delay in the delivery of justice. To explain my program of action involving these items will require another 30 minutes, a luxury I do not have tonight. Perhaps at another occasion, I will have the time to discuss them. For the moment, let me just say 2 things. 1, the Supreme Court's Action Program for Judicial Reform, or APJR, which was started by my esteemed predecessor, Hilario G. Davide Jr., and which I shall continue to invigorate and implement, has been adopted by many countries of the world. During the International Conference and Showcase on Judicial Reform held in Makati 2 months ago, on November 28 to 30, 2005, which I had the privilege to chair, the APJR was hailed as a model reform program that other developing countries should emulate. 2, this International Conference and Showcase voted the Philippine Supreme Court as the Secretariat and Repository of Judicial Reform Initiatives in the world. It will also operate the official website of the conference, called JRN21, or short for Judicial Reform Network in the 21st Century, which can be accessed through the Supreme Court's official website, www.supremecourt.gov.ph. Significant is the fact that the administrator of the APJR, Evelyn Toledo Dumdum, has been asked by the Supreme Courts of the Russian Federation and the Republic of Armenia to assist them in setting up their own separate judicial reform offices, similar to ours, in preparation for the implementation of their own reform program. Director Dumdum left the country yesterday and will be away for about 3 weeks in Russia and in Armenia to render technical assistance to the Supreme Courts of these two countries. Looking at the enormity of the task before me, many people have asked, what can Chief Justice Panganiban really accomplish when by constitutional mandate he shall retire on December 7, 2006, a term of only 11 months and 16 days? Will he not be a mere footnote in the illustrious history of our judiciary? My answer is, so be it. But remember that Christmas comes only one day in the year, yet its message of love for our God and love for our neighbor reverberates for all time. Please also note that at the entrance of the main building of our Supreme Court on Padre Paura Street are two giant bronze statues of the two greatest Chief Justices of our country. Cayetano Arellano, the first Chief Justice who served for nearly 20 years, and Jose Abad Santos, our martyred Chief Justice, who served for barely 6 months. So, ladies and gentlemen, I should like to say that perhaps greatness is not to be measured in terms of the length of one's service, but in terms of one's real contribution to instill lasting values, inspire confidence in ourselves, and nurture the germinal plant from which will bloom the sturdy tree of a reformed and transformed judiciary in our country. Maraming salamat po.